Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining me from. Thank you for joining me again for day 24 of our Grace campaign. Wow, this is just so beautiful. I just thank God for the grace to do this campaign on a daily basis, but it's been an exciting journey for me as well. So if today is your first time of joining me, the Grace campaign was inspired by my latest book, Mama Grace. This is a copy of Mama Grace in my hand. So Mama Grace was released just last month, and around the world, people are beginning to read it and they are enjoying it. And the feedbacks I've been getting have been so encouraging. So you can get Mama Grace on amazon.com, amazon.co.uk, or any Amazon website that's operational in your country, because I know that for each country, they have their Amazon specific website. So order the copy there. It's available in both paperback and in Kindle version. And if you live in Africa, you can also get a copy of Mama Grace, a digital copy of it on okadabooks.com. So you can download the Okada Books app to your phone, or you can go on the web and just download the book. It's going to be an interesting read. I promise you that, because that is what I've been hearing. And the good news is that it's currently in production for audiobooks. So very soon, Mama Grace is also going to be on Audible, where you can download it on your iTunes. You can just play it on the go as you just do your chores or as you travel. So I'm really looking forward to that. Today, I'm going to be speaking on the subject of grace and grief. Grace and grief. And that is actually one of the chapters in the book. I dedicated the whole chapter to talking about grace and grief, because I have experienced grief firsthand. And I know that if it was not for the grace of God, I would not have been able to come out of it. Within a space of 6 years, there were 4 major events that brought grief to my life. The first one was the breakdown of my marriage in 2013, when my husband moved out of the house. And in 2016, I lost my dad. And in 2019, I lost my daughter. And just 3 months after losing my daughter, I also lost my mom. So you can imagine the amount of grief that I've experienced. But I thank God for the grace of God. I experienced the grace of God, and the grace of God took me through the process and made me to be able to rise above that grief. That is why I know that there is grace to rise above grief. There is grace to overcome our grief. And like I said, I dedicated the whole chapter to talking about this. So if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, how to overcome grief, get a copy of the book. And even if it's only that chapter you go and read, I know that it's going to be a great blessing to you. And I know that there are other aspects that will also minister to you as well. So I'm just here to let you know that there is grace for grief. And if it was not for the grace of God, especially when I lost my daughter and then my mom passed again 3 months later, it felt like I was losing myself. And I had to tap into the grace of God. Because if it was not for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here speaking to you today. And if not for the grace of God, maybe I would have still been alive, but I wouldn't be in my right mind. So the grace of God kept me alive. The grace of God kept me sane. And the grace of God keeps me growing and moving from level to another level, from one level of glory to the other. So I want to let you know that the grace of God is real. You can experience the grace of God also in your life. So I don't know what you may be going through right now. Have you lost someone or something very dear to you, and it looks like you cannot move past that point? You need the grace of God. Or do you know somebody that have lost something or somebody very close to them, and it looks like they've gotten stuck as a result of that experience? They need the grace of God. And that is why I encourage you to get this book for yourself, or get it for somebody that you know is in this category right now, so that they also can tap into that grace and move beyond whatever has caused grief for them. So thank you once again for joining me for the 24 of the Grace campaign. And the book is available on Amazon, amazon.com, amazon.co.uk, amazon.de, or whatever Amazon that is operational in your country. And it's also available on okadabooks.com. And like I mentioned, it will be available very soon on Audible, where you can have the audiobook and just listen to it as they go. So don't deny yourself the opportunity to enjoy the grace of God. The price you will pay for the book is very insignificant compared to the value that you will get out of it. So my business is not to sell books to you. My business is to help you to experience what I have experienced, so that you also can continue to triumph over the issues of life. So this is day 24 of our Grace campaign, and I'll be with you again tomorrow for another session of the Grace campaign. Until then, just stay blessed.